Hello everyone, this is the pre-market report video for today 28th July 2023 in the Indian stock market in terms of Nifty and Bank Nifty. As we discussed in detail in the last pre-market video, day before yesterday, US Fed chairman didn't speak very hawkish. Thus, yesterday morning, almost all the Asian market was trading green, and in line with that, Nifty opened a gap up of 70 points. And it maintained 19,850 level for the 45 minutes. After that, first Mahindra & Mahindra announced that they acquired 3.53% stake in RBL Bank, which started the downfall of Nifty. Yesterday Nifty Auto dropped 191 points, and all that 191 points drop came just from M&M stock. Then around 10:30, Aon Consulting, UK-based risk mitigation firm, released the report about the attrition rate in Indian private bank. Here, to be honest, everyone kind of knows this because HDFC Bank highlighted in their earning conference call, same for Kotak Bank, and even day before yesterday, Axis Bank highlighted the issue. And this including myself as well. We just choose to ignore that particular part like it never happens, and exactly that's what this risk management company or Hindenburg kind of investment group do. Because they highlight the news we ignore, since I'm sure and I'm confident in January period, all of us know that Adani shares was overpriced and it got significant debt. But we simply ignored that. And that's what happening in our private banks. Not Adani extent like issue, but it's definitely a worrying thing. If required, please pause it and have a look. This is one of the very important chart for all who invested in Bank Nifty. Here in both Kotak Bank and Yes Bank, in 2023, they said they had attrition rate of 46 and 43%. Which means not yet but near 1 in 2 employee in the bank had resigned in the last 1 year period. That is terrible. If you see Axis and HDFC Bank, it's slight better, but they too had 35 and 34% attrition rate, which means over 1 in 3 people had resigned. Only Federal Bank got less than 5%. See, this is what exactly happened in Indian IT company a year ago, and now all of them were struggling. Now the same is happening in the private bank, and in the long run this will reduce the private bank profit margin. It's not just profit, also the operating efficiency in the bank will get affected as well. Anyway, back to yesterday's market. As soon as the report was released and highlights the issues around the private bank, made the Bank Nifty to fall, which in turn pulled the Nifty down. And that's the reason yesterday private bank alone fell, not the public sector bank. And in the private bank, only Federal Bank and City Union Bank closed positive because both of them got less attrition rate. Thus, after 11 am, Nifty continues to fall and reached 19,600, where it took the support and bounced back slightly. Sector-wise, auto and private bank dropped over 1% and FMCG dropped 0.7%. On the contrary, because of Cipla's very good quarterly results, pharma sector increased 3% and realty up by 2%. And most of us know FII was the biggest investor in Indian private banks. Yesterday, the net sold for near 4,000 crore rupees. However, DII net bought for approximately 2,530 crore rupees. So that's the story. In short, yesterday's drop in Nifty was not a global momentum, rather than mainly contributed by M&M and particularly Indian private banks. Coming to US, before their market opening, various US related important macros was released by various entities. First, Bureau of Economic Analysis released the US second quarter GDP. Between April to June period GDP growth rate, it came as 2.4% against expectation of 1.8%. This is good and this is the first positive news. Then the second, Census Bureau released the durable goods order for June month. Here, the order bank on month-on-month basis increased by 4.7% against expectation of just 1%. Because of these two super economic data and day before yesterday's Fed chairman's speech made all 3 US major index to open significantly positive. However, weakness in the airline and financial stocks ended the 13 days consecutive straight positive close of Dow Jones. Regarding the financial weakness, S&P Global missed the analyst estimation, thus that stock dropped over 7% and affected the whole financial sector. Similarly, Southwest Airlines released the not so good quarterly results, which in turn affects all the airline stocks. In case of tech, eBay dropped over 10% due to their earning guidance, whereas Netflix and Tesla both dropped over 2% due to their own stock issue. In short, the story in US market was country's macro data pushed the market up in the first half, but the individual stock issues pulled it down and triggered the profit booking in the second half. So, in the end of the day, Dow Jones decreased by 0.67%, S&P 500 lost 0.64%, and Nasdaq down by 0.55%. In case of VIX, it increased by over 9% and moved near 14.5 from 13.5. And about oil, it's roughly the same. WTI was trading at near $80 per barrel, whereas Brent crude oil was trading at $83.5 per barrel. Regarding Indian ADR, banks closed much more negative than in Indian market. Yesterday morning, HDFC Bank and ICICI Bank was down just 0.8 and 0.2%. However, in the US, HDFC Bank ADR down over 3.5% and ICICI Bank down by 2%. In case of IT stocks, Infosys closed near flat. Compared to banks, Wipro closed marginally down. In terms of GIFT Nifty, today at 3 am Indian Standard Time, it closed at 19,764, which means it's kind of indicating flat or 20 points gap down opening today. So this is what happened in the global market. Now let's see the Indian specific info. First, about Adani's debt. I don't know positive or not, but for info, Barclays Bank, Deutsche Bank and Standard Chartered collectively agreed to lend up to 5,000 crore rupees to Adani for refinancing the Ambuja debt. Again, as I said, I'm not sure it's positive or negative. Second, about the quarterly results, Indus Tower delivered a very good results and their profit increased over 182%. So I consider this as positive, but I like to be cautious here since it's a mature company and there is not much sign that they are renewing themselves for the 5G challenge. Then both Bharat Electronics and Ajanta Pharma too delivered a good results. Bharat Electronics profit increased 23%, whereas Ajanta Pharma profit increased 19%. Anyway, as a summary, despite US market negative close, global momentum looks positive, Reliance GDP positive and GIFT Nifty indicating the flat opening. However, banks Indian areas were indicating 1 to 2% negative. Then regarding the things to look out today, Indian Oil Corporation, Bank of India, M&M Financial Services, Marico and SBI Cards are the some companies shall release their earnings today. And in terms of macro, during the market hours from 11:30 am to 2:30 pm, various Europe related data such as Europe GDP, inflation of individual countries are scheduled to release. Finally, in the aftermarket hours, various very important US related data such as PC inflation are due. The regular viewers of this channel might remember this. Lot of times we discussed about this, that for interest rate decision, Fed don't use the regular conventional consumer inflation data, rather than they always use the PC inflation data. That PC inflation for June month is due to release tonight. Coming to technical, yesterday on the daily chart, both Nifty and Bank Nifty forms the bearish engulfing pattern, which most of us know it's a bearish reversal. So first, let's see Nifty in detail. In the last 4-5 weeks, in most cases, whenever there is a correction, always at last Nifty took the support at 10-day exponential moving average and moves above. But yesterday, that's not a case. After the positive gap up opening at higher level, Nifty moved below the key 5 and 10-day moving averages. Thus, on both daily and hourly momentum, it's indicating a negative crossover. So, the most likely scenario will be continuation of further consolidation. Here, the 20-day exponential moving average and also the psychological level 19,500 will act as a crucial support. If it fails to hold, then it might further slide down towards 19,300. On the upper side, 19,850 will be the key level and it's 61.82% Fibonacci retracement. Thus, it will act as the huge resistance. Moving on, for Bank Nifty, it's similar to Nifty. The daily momentum indicator indicates the negative crossover, suggests potential further weakness. And also, it cannot able to withstand the higher level. So, if Bank Nifty fails to hold the crucial support of 45,330 to 45,300, then further corrections can be expected. On the upside, unless the index can sustain above the 46,300 to 46,400 zone, the bearish sentiment is likely to continue. Moving on, from pivot chart for Nifty, at present the support is present at around 19,610 and strong support is at 19,450. On the higher side, the immediate resistance to break is at 19,875. Then in terms of Bank Nifty, the support is present at around 45,400, whereas the resistance is at 46,310. So that's all in this video. Hope you all got some useful information. Please consider subscribing the channel and liking the video, so it will help me beat the YouTube algorithm and will also motivate me to do more. Please don't make any investment based on this, as I'm not a SEBI registered advisor. I'm doing this for my and viewers' educational purpose only. Thanks for watching.